Let's bring in Avery Friedman, a civil rights attorney, law professor as well, and criminal defense attorney and professor Richard Herman. Good to see you both.
All right, Frederica.
All right, so Avery, you first. Police say Marsha Jones, instigated the fight. But she didn't pull the trigger. In fact, the young woman who shot Jones eventually had her murder and attempted murder charges dropped. So this grand jury, chose not to indict the shooter because they felt it was in self-defense. So help explain, really the sequence here and how in the end it's Jones who is facing the charges.
Well, I got to tell you, Frederica, you couldn't hire screenwriters to come up with something like this. Just impossible. The fact is that Miss Jones, who was the victim of the shooting, was indicted on a law which is somewhat unique to Alabama, that if you get into a fight, I guess that gives the person who's being on the other end of the fight an opportunity to pull a gun and shoot you. I guess everybody's Wyatt Earp down in Alabama. And at the end of the day, she could have been charged with assault, she could have been charged with battery, but no, they are using a dubiously unconstitutional law to charge Jones, who will face 20 years. And I think ultimately that law is going to be held unconstitutional. I think she goes free unless the prosecutor starts showing some good sense and charge her with the appropriate crimes, not that Alabama law. Doesn't work.
So, Richard, thus far, prosecutors are going to, full steam ahead on how they are, pursuing this case, that it's Jones who should be held culpable here. How do they do that?
Fred, it's like my friend Paul Mooney says all the time, it's the end of the world. I mean, it's the end of the world. Look at this fact pattern here, and look what's going on. The tragedy is off the charts. This is so tragic, I can't even begin to analyze it with a legal cap on. It's just beyond absurd that this woman who's 5 months pregnant and gets recklessly shot by a woman putting 5 shots, supposedly warning shots, into the pavement. Warning shots into the ground, not in the air, to the ground, and one of the bullets ricochets and catches her in the stomach where she's 5 months pregnant, and the fetus dies. The grand jury in Alabama, facing manslaughter on the shooter, says, no, it's okay. She could have done that. And now the victim is now not the victim. The fetus is the victim, according to police. And so she gets charged. She's in prison, Fred. She's facing 20 years because she took a risk under the manslaughter statute that she should not have taken. Because apparently in Alabama, if you're pregnant and you do anything to risk that child being born healthy, you can be charged criminally. They are taking women, they are bringing them back to prehistoric times. This is outrageous.
So our CNN affiliate WBRC reached out to the district attorney in this case, who said this, while the grand jury has had its say, our office is in the process of evaluating this case and has not yet made a determination about whether to prosecute it as a manslaughter case, reduce it to a lesser charge, or not to prosecute it. So it sounds like there might be some wiggle room or second thoughts.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there has to be, Frederica, because under the Alabama law, even if a fetus is not viable, even if it's not viable, that is a felony. So the law, again, is clearly unconstitutional. You don't know whether or not some prosecutor that has an ideology wanted to move that agenda along. I mean, yesterday, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that the Alabama anti-abortion law was unconstitutional, wouldn't take the case, let the federal appeals court decision stand. So this is another variation on the same
So is this
thing.
Is this public opinion that potentially is swaying the district attorney's, office here, or what, Richard?
It's political, Fred. They have to run for office, so politics plays a big part of it down there. And these are all holy rollers over there, so they are going to support. They're fundamentalists. They don't care about reality. They're devoid of reality here. They're letting a bunch of ancient dinosaur old men on Viagra dictate what a woman can do with her life. This is completely absurd what's going on. They have to drop these charges immediately and wake up to reality and to the legal system, because it's outrageous, Fred. It's not just like
that
shocking.
It's
not just
way
like
out of line.
In 18 years with you, Fred, this is the most outrageous case we've ever done. It's insane.
And Avery, you get the last word on this.
Look, that broad brush is way out of line. That's not legal analysis. The fact
No,
is,
it's not. It's
whatever
right on
law
line.
was enacted, let me finish my thought. Whatever law was enacted,
38 states have this law.
They may be wrong, but the fact is that until such time as the court holds it unconstitutional, it is constitutional. That's what the battle is here. I think it's going to be held unconstitutional. It's over anyhow. It's over.
All right. And in 18 years, you two always enlighten us and help us better understand these cases
and
that are
sometimes
so
we
ever
even agree,
complicated.
Because of you, Fred. It's because of you.
That's right.
No, it's
You're the
because
captain.
of you. But I am happy that we are always together. Avery, Richard,
Yes.
always.
All
Thank
the
you so
best.
much. Appreciate it.
Take care.